To you by Texas Law Shield. Over the last decade, Michael has championed and supported the rights of law-abiding Texans to own and use firearms. He is the owner of Central Texas Gun Works, a veteran of the United States Army, and has achieved national exposure in such prestigious media outlets such as Forbes Magazine, Fox Business News, CNN Money, AOL, BBC World News, Huffington Post, and the New York Times. Cargill vigorously defends lawful gun ownership in this country without regard to party politics. And now, here's Michael Cargill.
Good day, Austin, Texas, the live music capital of the world. Let's praise the Lord and pass the ammunition. A civil war between the left and the right is brewing in this country. Mainly because we have raised a society of poor losers. That's it. That's the whole problem right now. You have two groups, the left and the right. We've had an election. There's a winner of this election, whether you like the outcome of that election or not, whether you think someone stole the election or not. He who pulled out the most tools, he who or she who pulled out of those dead bodies out of the ground and was able to get the most dead bodies has won the election. You have to settle for the results, and the results are in, and there's a winner, and let's accept that. Let's move on with this country. And if your candidate did not win, then what you need to do is wait 4 years and try again. The problem in this country is we have raised a society, a group of people that don't know how to accept when they've lost something. You lost the race. You lost the competition. You lost the game. You know what? Let's start a new game. Let's try again, and let's try to win again. That's what you do. You accept defeat. You have been defeated. You have been beat on the field of competition. So you need to pick your tools up, get your stuff, get it together, pull your pants up, pull your boots up by the straps, and you need to try again. That is how we run this country. This is America. This is the United States of America. This is not New York. This is, this one individual state. This is the combined country here. This is not some other country. This is the United States of America. Let's admit that your candidate lost, and let's move on. It doesn't matter if it's the left. It doesn't matter if it's the right. Let's get it together, folks. Let's get it together. Get it together. Pick your boots up by the strap. Let's move on. All this little division, it needs to stop. All of this is a divide and conquer. We are a strong country. We're a strong nation. Let's get it together. Let it go. And let's move on. Let's get on down the road and let's build this country and move on. And if that candidate, the person that you don't like, tends to come after the things that you care dear for, then you fight them with tooth and nail. You fight them with your brain. Use your head. It's all about a chess match. It's not about checkers. This is about chess, not checkers. Get it together, people. Get it together. Are we good, folks? Are we all good now? Come on, Felicia. Are we good?
Yeah, I actually agree with you for once. Write it down, folks. November 15th, 2020. Felicia agreed with Michael. It's time to move on. It's time for the Republican Party to heal itself because it's been going through a lot since 2016. We've adjusted a lot as conservatives in this country. Obviously, a lot of people were not into that, right? And we need to figure out how to move forward as a country and as a party as a whole, because we have a lot of growing to do.
What do you think?
I think it's time for, a rebirth, right? Give someone fresh and new a chance to lead.
Whether you like it or not, doesn't matter if your candidate won or lost. We need to accept the results and move on. Don't drag this out any longer. Enough of this, because all that's going to happen is, we're going to start fighting. It's happening right now. Take a look at this video. This video of last night in Washington, D.C., you have, people on the left and people on the right actually fighting each other in the streets of D.C. And this, folks, this is ridiculous. This is not how we're supposed to conduct this country. You don't like what happened. You lost the game. You lost the race. You lost the match. Whatever it is, you lost. Everyone, you don't get a trophy. We don't all win. There are times when you're going to lose. You're not going to win this confrontation. You're not going to win this election. Let it go. You got to let it go. All right. So today we got a lot to talk about. I want to talk about the fact that, it's about a shooting, and someone says it's about shooting tyrants in the face. A militia challenges gun laws in Virginia, and gun sales spike after the election. I'm telling you, it's divide and conquer. This is going to happen. The holiday season's coming around, and people are going to purchase guns. We have on the show today 1770 Armory, a gun club in Denver, Colorado. And I tell you, there's a civil war that's brewing, and if this does happen, if the left and the right, they continue in the path that they're going right now, you might want to prepare yourself. You might want to prepare yourself and train and protect yourself and also protect your family, because you're dealing with a group of people that don't know how to lose. They don't know how to, settle with the fact that they lost the competition and they need to move on. So I suggest you train, you learn, you practice, you get a firearm, make sure you have plenty of ammunition, and learn learn everything about that firearm that you possibly can learn. We have gun store owners that sales went up after Election Day. That's happened all around the country. This militia, we're going to talk about this militia challenged gun laws in Virginia. They said, hey, it's about shooting tyrants in the face. And a couple who pointed guns at protesters, they sue a photographer who captured them in the act. I wonder if that's illegal in Missouri. So that's all. We're going to talk about that. Also, Florida, DeSantis moves to allow citizens to shoot looters, rioters targeting businesses. We have this law in Texas that, if you're committing arson, doesn't matter if it's daytime or nighttime. In Texas, you're committing arson, you can use force, a deadly force, and stop them. That's right. So if your business is being, someone's trying to burn your business down, they're trying to burglarize your business, they're trying to enter the building of your business, whether it's daytime or nighttime in Texas, you can use force or deadly force and stop them. You need to learn what the laws are. People are concerned about their personal protection. They're concerned about, what's going to happen if this civil war that people are talking about breaks out. Well, you need to know what the laws are. Know use of force and deadly force. Know when you cannot shoot someone. Come on to me. Let's talk. I love to talk about these things in class. Like I like to say in class, next question. Next question. Next question. Because I'll answer all your questions in class, no matter how hard, how difficult that question is. All right, so a civil war between the left and the right is brewing in this country because we have raised a society of poor losers. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Peace, this is Maj Toure. You're listening to Come and Talk It Radio with Michael Cargill.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, we're going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill, because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back, and we're talking about, the things that are happening in the country today. We're talking about guns. We're talking about personal protection. We're talking about the fact, are you prepared? Are you ready? Because this morning, last night in Austin, Texas, man, someone took a machete to another citizen and hacked him up in Austin with a machete. Are you prepared to protect yourself and also protect your family? Do you know what the use of force and deadly force laws are? Can you draw that firearm from your concealed carry position within 4 seconds? That's what we're talking about. Are you prepared, to pull that trigger if you have to? Do you know what the laws are? Can you shoot someone in the back? What can you do or what can you not do to protect yourself? Are you proficient with that firearm? Can you correct a malfunction if it happens? Have you cleaned your gun? Is there oil in your gun? Is it going to, be there for you when you need it, when you pull the trigger? These are the things we're talking about today. You got to answer all those questions. Got to have the answers for those. Because if you don't, you're not prepared. Don't pull the gun out. Don't carry a gun. Don't do it because you're going to jail. I got on Skype, we have 1770 Armory, a gun club in Denver, Colorado. How you guys doing out there in Denver, Colorado?
We're doing great, Michael. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely, man. I tell you, it's great. You guys are out there in Denver. Mile High Country. The weather's got to be great.
Yeah, it's great right now. It was a little windy last night, but it's beautiful right now. Can't complain.
All right, so tell me, you guys are busy. You just opened your business. Tell me, what happened? Why'd you start a gun club?
I think myself and my the co-owners of 1770 Armory and Gun Club are included in this. We all kind of felt like in our community, especially, there was a disparity as far as really understanding and becoming a carrier of the Second Amendment. In our community, sometimes it seems like it's very taboo to purchase or to carry or own a firearm, and we wanted to change that narrative.
Yeah, and you guys are probably younger than I am, but you look a lot older than I am, so I'm grateful of that. And so, just want to throw that out there.
Shots fired.
So shout out to wearing the goatees and stuff like that, because I tell you, you guys, man, you look great. You're wonderful.
Thank you, appreciate it.
All right, so tell us, You guys started, 1770 Army, Denver, Colorado. Uh,
Yes.
and, there's a big, huge demand, for firearms instructors all around the country. And so,
Yes.
what's some of your experiences?
Well, myself and two of the other, what we call ourselves, are gun tailors. They are former military, and I started off in martial arts when I was about 14, and I got into firearms maybe about 7 or 8 years ago, and just been training with guys that have been in the military, former 20-year Ranger vets, and just really honing that skill. And the reason why is because, to me, it's a martial discipline.
Right.
So just like any other martial arts, firearms, and like you were saying earlier, everything you were saying was correct. Being able to clear my functions, is your firearm clean? Everything you were saying is a lot of the narrative that we speak about when people come to us and they want to, begin their firearms journey. So being one of the first gun clubs, and retailers in Denver, it was kind of historic because we're in a historic neighborhood that was, predominantly African American, in the 60s and 70s and all the way up to the 90s. So it was really significant for our community.
And this has got to be a Nubis, is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay, awesome. All right. So, and what are some of the things that you found when your students come into you? Some of
Mhm.
the misconceptions that you see, that their mindset. What some of the things they get wrong.
Well, a common misconception, what we deal with a lot, is we get people who they're afraid, right? They have this nervousness, or this feeling that there's a boogeyman out there, and with that, people, from what they see on television and what they may have gone through in life with, firearms and things like that, they're really nervous and really scared. The common misconception is that, if a gun is in your home, it's going to grow legs and run around and chase you around the house, right? That's the furthest thing from the truth. So what we typically do is we go through a rigorous safety course. We explain what are the things that you have to do in order to safely and responsibly own a firearm. And then we stress training. It's not something that you take one class and now you're proficient enough to be a concealed carry holder. You're not proficient enough to just, have it in your sock drawer. We run into that a lot, where people, okay, I got my gun. And now what? And it's like, well, you have to train extensively and diligently. It becomes a lifestyle and an extension of yourself.
Right. There's a lot, because you're talking about, okay, the classes, the license to carry handgun course, like in Texas, it's only designed to teach you the laws of state of Texas. It's only designed
Yes.
to evaluate your proficiency. It's not designed to teach you how to shoot. It doesn't really teach you how to conceal carry or any of that stuff. It's just,
Exactly.
it says, hey, here are the laws. You need to know what those laws are in the state where you live. So that way, in case you have to use a gun, if you're going to go to jail or not. And then also, make sure that you can actually load the rounds in the magazine and fire the gun at a full size target there. We use blue. So
Absolutely.
that's all what it's for. But then what do you do after that? What do you do once you get the license? You have the license, now what? Can you draw the firearm from your concealed carry position? Can you, shoot and move to cover? What are you going to do if something is happening? Do you pull your gun out? Do you protect your family first? You got to look at those different scenarios and a lot of things that are out there. If I'm driving down the road, should I really pull my gun out and fire my round, fire a round through my front shield of my vehicle as I'm driving on the interstate at someone?
Right.
There's so many different scenarios.
Absolutely.
Because we watched this guy that was in Florida. I bring up the Florida man. He was in Florida, driving on the road in Florida. And so someone pulled up behind him really fast. And so this guy brake checks the person, and he recorded this on his dash cam camera. So he brake checks them.
Okay.
So then he gets onto the interstate, the turnpike, or the toll road, and he brakes checks the guy again. Then he continues driving, and then finally the guy was able to pass him. So the guy passes him up, gets on down the road. Instead of just letting him get on down the road, he decides to go 100 miles an hour to catch up to this guy. And then he chases the guy. As he's behind this guy, he pulls out the guy who he was chasing, flashes his handgun out this driver's side window. He then continues on, and then he slows down to 95 miles an hour and then fires rounds through his front windshield. And he says he was justified in shooting those shots because he was in fear of losing his life after he chased someone. But he did slow down to 95 miles an hour. And he recorded all this on his dash cam.
Yeah, that's a conviction, bro.
Yeah, it's just crazy, and it's a mindset, and you got to road rage. You need to know what that is. Should I? Is this the time to fight, or should I not fight? Should I run and worried about protecting myself? There's so many things involved and so many things that comes into play, and I'm glad that you guys, the 1770 Army, are out there training people on what to do and proficiency and all this stuff.
Yeah, because the number one thing that we stress and that we teach is conflict resolution. Just because you're a concealed carry permit holder, it's just a permit, right? It's not a license to go out and become a vigilante, or like you see on the movies where these guys are getting revenge and stalking criminals or anything like that. No, conflict resolution is first and foremost. Is it worth going to jail over, or is it worth dying over? And at that point, if it is, okay, then all bets are off. But one of the really cool things about what we're doing at 1770 Armory, because of the skyrocketing and the ammunition being inflated and that type of thing, is we've created what we call a simulated infrared firing range. And what that allows people to do is train with technology as opposed to, using their ammunition as beginners, and, they're nervous, and you get some guys using a shotgun on one lane, a guy's using an AK on another lane, and you're trying to instruct people on the fundamentals, that kind of thing. So with the software and the hardware that we're utilizing, it really gives people a chance to learn those 5 fundamentals and even train on those higher level things without the danger of, accidental shootings and shooting where you don't intend to shoot and that kind of thing. A lot of gun ranges, you can't lay prone and you can't run and those type of things, but you can do that at 1770 Armory.
All right, yeah, I got to get you guys here to Austin, Texas, so we can do like an event where we have like Monterey, Black Guns Matter, get you guys here,
absolutely.
To Austin, and do like I think like a seminar or something like that, and get people out to the range and stuff like that. I think that'd be great. All right, we're talking with 1770 Army. They're out of Denver, Colorado. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack Jones here, and I get my gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
Hello, my name is Edwin Walker. I'm an independent program attorney with Texas Law Shield. I want to talk to you today about an issue that we see on a daily basis. In fact, you yourself will encounter it on a daily basis, and that is the subject of road rage. I am sure that you have all seen road rage. You may have actually been involved in a road rage incident. Now, if you're a responsible gun owner, I'm going to give you a few words of advice on how to react when you find yourself in one of these unfortunate road rage incidents. While on the roadways, we all observe something that makes us upset. Whether it's poor driving, unsafe driving, or just simply somebody being very discourteous. By all means, you should restrain yourself from engaging that person and telling them how bad their actions were, because this can be perceived as an act of road rage. If you're a lawful gun owner, you have a firearm in your vehicle, you do not want to be viewed as the aggressor in a road rage situation. Now, with regard to a situation where an individual has chosen to rage against you, and you are the actual victim of the road rage, if you and the other individuals are still in their automobiles, do not use your firearm to respond to any of the rager's activities. This is because law enforcement views the fact that you're both still safely in your metal boxes as removing any threat of immediacy that you may be harmed. So please, if you have a gun, somebody is raging against you, forget you have a gun. Don't display it, don't brandish it, don't show it, don't point it, and for God's sake, don't fire it. This could result in a lot of trouble for you. Now let's look at a situation where a road rage incident has escalated. It has escalated to the point where one of the participants has actually gotten out of their vehicle. We recommend that you stay in your...
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, is there a civil war between the left and the right brewing in the United States of America? And I say yes, and you know why? Because we have raised a society of poor losers. You have people on the left and the right, can't admit when the game is over and they've lost. And yes, I understand the Electoral College. I know how all that stuff works. You know why? Because I remember, I don't have short-term memory. I remember, when Al Gore was running for president, we didn't find out until December, who the president was. I understand, there's not instant gratification. Trust me, I understand that. I understand it takes some time to get that gratification. Some people don't know that, right? Am I by myself? Yeah, I know. That's right. Get off the phone.
No, I still agree with you. Yes.
You still agree with me? Still?
I do.
Oh my God! I'm trying to get you to disagree with me.
It's because I've been gone so long.
Ay.
I have to toss you a bone, right?
I don't like this groupthink thing. I don't like groupthink. I'm trying to get you to disagree with me.
I disagree with you like 90% of the time. We can start talking about legislation. We'll probably disagree on some of that.
Yeah, we're going to disagree with that.
We testified against each other last year, I think.
That's right. We're going to testify this year.
Testified against each other?
No, we never testified. I think the only thing I testified against the gun community over was was one thing.
Prosecution for failed background check.
Yeah. Okay, there was two things. Okay, there was two things.
He
All right,
he testified in favor of a Democrats bill.
Yeah, it was that. It's the one where the message and sending a safety message, about locking your guns up. I didn't think there was anything wrong with Department of Public Safety coming out with a message saying, "Hey, lock your guns. Keep them away from kids." I didn't think there was anything wrong with that.
Is it taxpayer funded? Then they want to get $100,000 for that or something.
Zach's out here asking the important questions, doing
Zach,
God's work, and this is why we call Michael a stated, ladies and gentlemen. In case you forgot,
I don't even like you right now.
You love me.
Don't even like you right now. All right, so we have 1770 Armory on the phone here on Skype, and we're talking about what's happening in Denver, Colorado. We're talking about really what's happening all around the country, where we have instructors that are, new instructors or instructors that people that have been doing this for years and now decided to teach other people. They've been training for years, and now they're saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to share my experiences with other people, to help them train, and protect themselves. And that's why we have 1770 Army on the phones today. And so, and my producer says, hey, he says he's from Denver, Colorado, and he says you guys are over in 5 Points. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct. The historic 5 Points neighborhood. Yes, sir.
And so he wanted to know how many dispensaries there are close to 5 Points. See, I'm calling you out there.
Yeah, they're all over the place. They're like liquor stores now. They're everywhere.
All right. So how does that work? How does that work with guns and dispensaries? We're from Texas. I'm asking for the people in the back of the room.
Yeah, no, well, you see on the application, if you've used marijuana illegally, then, you cannot purchase a firearm.
That's
right?
correct.
So,
See, that's what I'm talking about. See, you know this stuff. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
So I like you, man. I like you guys. All right. So 5 Points. So 5 Points, he says that's a historically black neighborhood. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yep,
right.
That's correct.
And so you guys have an outdoor, or is it an indoor range?
So it's an indoor range. We have a 10,000 square foot building, and where we're able to teach classes, teach people how to shoot safely. We have a huge backyard area that we convert into an actual outdoor range. And again, this is all utilized through, laser technology and computer programs. So it's really cool. You can either bring in your own firearm and we'll insert a laser cartridge into whatever you have, or you can use one of our proprietary SIRT pistols or what's called a bolt inside of your AR, and you can train malfunctions. You can train, magazine reloads, emergency reloads, whatever, you name it, you can do it.
Nice. All right. So indoor gun range, and then you have an outdoor portion as well. And this is
Yes, sir.
all close to like in 5 Points. That's like this is like downtown, right?
Exactly.
Wow.
Very close to downtown. We have a lot of people who just walk in who've, heard about us, in the media and just kind of walk in and, want to see what's happening. And again, a lot of our customers aren't avid gun owners, but they want to become, a part of the Second Amendment community. So it's great that we have the opportunity to introduce them to it in such a different way.
All right. Are you seeing a lot of females?
Oh, absolutely. Most of my clients, when I do private sessions, they are women. And it's kind of weird because their husbands will, send them to us to train. But then when we see the husbands on the range, a lot of them can't shoot. So we're like, dude.
The men are the worst. I'm telling you. The women they're easy. Women listen. They do exactly what you tell them to do, and they become great shots. Men do not listen for nothing.
Are you saying that women are submissive?
I'm not. No. No. See, we're gonna fight right here in this. I'm hopping across the table. No, what I'm saying is that women, they listen. They say, hey, okay, I want to do this. I want to learn how to do this. How do I do this? And you tell them, and they actually do what they listen. Men are thick-headed. You say, hey, don't do this. You have a bad habit. I need you to do it this way. And they tend not to listen and do it the bad way. No, and I'm like, Michael. I hit their hand. I was like, hey, no, don't do that.
Yeah, I had to sneak back in here.
Go ahead.
Zach makes a really good point.
Oh, here we go.
For the love of God, guys.
Here we go. Ding, ding, ding.
Women are just more submissive and they listen better.
They say feminine energy is more receptive.
It is. Women are a lot more receptive.
Receptive and submissive are not the same thing.
Hey, Zach, Michael wouldn't know about women being receptive.
We have a special guest in the studio, and I need my special guest to come into the studio here. To come inside. Don't stay outside. I need you to come on inside because I need you to put him in check in here.
Michael, I hate you. We need a chair.
We need a chair.
Who better to put Gary in his place?
Better. That's right. Put Gary in his place. Come on down here.
Then the person who put him on this earth.
That's right.
We're grabbing you a chair.
That's right.
Mom.
So right here.
A chair in.
Right here. That's right. We're gonna get a chair for you and everything.
I hope you guys know that my mother made me into what I am today. She's not gonna.
Hold on.
Down.
Hey, Mom. How you doing?
Hey, Mom. You gotta get over here.
Scoot on around here a little bit.
Hey, Casey. Can you see her?
All right. Good. All right. So, Mom, welcome to Come and Talking, Mom. How you doing?
Fabulous, wonderful.
All right, so, he's saying that women are submissive. I disagree.
Oh, boy, that's why you guys brought me in
here? Get a little
here?
closer to the mic.
Yeah. Brought me in here?
That's right. That's why we brought you in here.
You disagree. So that means you think they are not submissive.
That's right. Not necessarily.
Yeah, but Michael isn't used to being around a lot of women, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give me some examples of this behavior that you're talking about, women being submissive, Gary?
At the gun range.
At the gun range.
My dad was out here at the gun range a couple months ago, and he didn't listen to a word I said.
No.
Not a word.
And you know what I do? Like your dad, for example, people like that, what I do is I put my hands on them and I, push them in the stomach. I grab their by the back and I push them in the way I want them to do. And I take their hands and I slap their hands. No, do this. That's right.
Goodness. Well, you know why you do that? Because men are not submissive.
So statistically speaking, women are actually better shots than men.
I believe it.
And it's because we're calmer and we understand
Yes.
that
you submit.
that
You
having-
submit to the calmer. What?
I'm
Yes.
probably a bad example of
I
being
did not-
calmer. We all know that I'm not. but
Name one example of a woman that's calm.
There are a lot of women that are.
I
out
mean,
there.
your mother is sitting
name
right
one.
next to you.
Oh,
She puts me in my
oh.
place all the time on the Facebook comments.
That's because
I'm not calm. See,
My
I'm a bad
argument is
example.
falling apart.
She's a great example.
Yeah, I want to understand why I'm sensing that submissive in this conversation is a bad
negative
word.
thing.
The
Yeah.
ability
Right.
to take instruction is not a negative thing. And
It-
if
it-
more men would do it,
Submit
they'd fire.
and the
to my will.
The ability to take instructions does not necessarily mean that you're submissive.
That's receptive.
Receptive. Oh, okay. You know, you sound like a woman right now.
See,
You know
I
what
also
else
think
is
that
receptive?
women.
A receptacle.
I think
see,
Mike's real receptive.
see.
I also think that women understand that the gun is truly an equalizer.
My name is not.
Yeah.
and we find it more important for us to be a good shot.
You can-
Because
More empowered.
women aren't as physically superior and strong and can't
Because
fight as well.
women are more responsible.
You confusing me with Aaron Hernandez.
We're also typically the more deadly of the species.
I
so.
saw the
I would
documentary.
agree. I would agree that women are more responsible. That's what my mom said.
Okay. Yeah, you're trying to suck it up right now. Yeah, don't go for it, Mom.
Hey,
He's being good now.
you know what?
All of a sudden, he's changed his tune. Yeah,
So anyways,
silence.
Are those guys still on the phone? Or what?
Right.
Get me out of here, Casey.
All right, 1770 Armory. All right, so like we were saying,
Wait, ask them what they think.
you get a lot. You get a lot of ladies, on either the gun range, they want to learn personal protection, they want to learn self defense and all that stuff. What do you tell them as far as like purse carry? Like they want to carry the gun in their purse. What are some of your suggestions for that?
Don't do it.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. Why do you say that?
Well, the reason why, for one, purses don't have a built-in trigger guard, right? So you're fumbling, and I'll use my wife as an example. She has tons of, weird objects in her purse, and, in a defensive or situation under duress, you're fumbling for your purse. That's a dead giveaway, right? That you've got a gun, number one. And number two, you accidentally press that trigger, you discharged and now you're in trouble the guy might run off, but now you're in trouble for accidental round discharge. So we advise some type of holster. And for women, there's a lot of different options now that are available. But we stress, if at all possible, please do not carry your firearm in your purse.
I would like to add to that, a purse can also get stolen, snatched right off you. You
Yep.
know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
So carrying a gun on you is probably the best way. Any type of particular firearm, a revolver, semi-automatic. If let's say a woman is dead set and carrying inside their purse, what would you recommend? If they're dead set, they're going to carry in their purse regardless.
It's a
Yeah, that's a
horrible
slippery
question.
slope.
It's a bad question,
Yeah.
but you know what? Know
Yeah.
they're gonna do it. We're gonna do it.
Yep.
I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yep. Michael-
So you know what I'm saying? Like just tell me which one
You
should
did
I
just
carry.
say that women were great listeners, so
Hey, I'm gonna carry it in my.
Michael,
I'm carrying it in my purse regardless. So just tell me which one should I carry.
Was one of your teachers growing up one of those teachers that said there's no such thing as a stupid question?
That is correct. Now, so I'm gonna carry anyway. So which gun should I carry inside my purse?
I mean, anything that's at least 4 inches, so it has plenty of velocity and KDP, knockdown power.
My
But,
producer,
yeah.
my producer's looking at me.
We're getting cut
My
off.
producer's looking at me because he knows when you say size, he knows which way I'm gonna go. All right, so we're gonna. You know what? We got a break. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Jack Jones here, and I get my gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers. And if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, I invoke my right to remain silent, and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent and my right to my attorney. Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're back and we're talking with 1770 Armory in Denver, Colorado. And we're talking about, some of the different courses, some of the different things they provide. So tell me, you guys have the Concealed Carry Group course. What is that all about, the Concealed Carry Group course?
So the Concealed Carry Group course is just a concealed carry weapons permit class. It goes over a lot of the laws. Primarily the color codes, of course, the white, yellow, orange, and red. It goes over, different things in different scenarios, how you're going to, react to, a defensive situation. So it goes over a lot of great information that people don't think about.
You mean like you're talking like the mindset that people, some people live in the white, some people live in the.
Yes.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So, the difference between a barrier, cover, and concealment, like those things that people who have trained, it's second nature for them. But for other individuals, it's very foreign. So we stress a lot of that information within our course. We have private courses available, home defense, just a host of different courses that people can take. That's going to help them, develop the proficiencies of self-defense.
Right. And then home defense, that's really important because people don't understand, this day and age, criminals are getting very resourceful. They try different little things to try to break into your home while you're sleeping and things of that nature. My parents had to shoot and kill someone, that tried to break in their home at 4:00 in the morning. So they'll do, really a lot of different things, whether it's, climbing on the second floor of your second floor bathroom window, whether it's, trying to go through the doggy door, People do a lot of different things. You got to use your alarm system. I use my alarm system. I use my cameras. I have dogs. I use everything in my arsenal to make sure that my family, my household is actually safe. And all that
Yeah, and
stuff
you have to
plays
have a
into it.
you have to have a plan. Just when I was a kid and they had dare and they had fire escape plans, you got to have a home invasion plan. You just have to. That's just the world we live in currently.
And then you guys also do the shotgun courses. You do the AR courses as well. Typically,
Yes.
what do people like? Do they like the shotgun better or the AR-15 better?
It just depends on the person. The shotgun course is very comprehensive and simple to understand because shotguns are, simpler and easier to use, I think. ARs tend to be, there's a larger learning curve that we find sometimes when people are trying to learn about ARs. But for home defense, we stress, the importance of having a shotgun and the efficiency of a shotgun. People like those classes. We can set up our building to do room clearing scenarios and that type of thing. So they get a kick out of that.
Nice. All right, yeah, because we kind of do like here in Austin, we do a mixture of like 4 different guns. We'll have you come and you learn how to shoot 4 different guns or something like that. You guys are kind of set up where you're not discharging the firearm, correct? You're using like a SIRT pistol or something like that. Is that correct?
Correct. So we're using SIRT pistols just to, get people familiar with firearms. They can bring in their own firearm, and we have actual real firearms that we use, and we can insert laser cartridges. And then once they feel comfortable enough, we have reciprocity with outdoor ranges and indoor ranges that do shoot live fire.
Oh, nice.
So it's not like they just learn, how it feels to shoot a laser. No, they're actually
they got to get that
preparing.
recoil, that feel of it.
They have to. It's imperative to understand what's going to happen because people think you're not going to put on your hearing protection and your eye protection, right? So you have to be aware that it's going to shock you. It's going to shock you. It's going to shock everyone in the neighborhood, and it's hopefully going to shock your intruder to leaving or let them know that you're they're going to.
Yeah, because I tell people, it's not like it is when you go out in a class. You're in a class, you're out at an outdoor gun range somewhere and you're shooting. You have eye protection, you have ear protection on. You have a safety person there. They're sitting maybe ready on the left, ready on the right. It's not any of that stuff there. Because when it comes to personal protection inside your home, that flash when you firing that gun at night, that can actually blind you. You're not going to have ear protection. You're not going to grab your ear protection and put it on before you discharge the firearm. So you're talking about discharging the firearm at night, possibly, most likely, inside your home to stop an intruder, someone that's trying to break into your home and kill you. And so you need to have night sights on the gun. That's really important, or a laser or a light or something like that, because it could be nighttime. It's probably 4 o'clock in the morning, and you just woke up because you heard a noise. You're a little groggy. You're not fully awake. So it's going to take you a couple seconds to get your bearings. So you gotta have some good sights or a laser or a light or something, because we want to have the advantage, and you should have the advantage because that's your home. That's where cameras come into play, so you can see where the intruder is. That's where your alarm comes into play. All of that stuff. And so you guys have a good training program. And I'm glad that people in Denver are actually taking an opportunity to learn this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything you said was absolutely correct. And just imagine waking up groggy and your adrenaline's pumping. For the first 3 to 10 seconds, your finger dexterity is going to be shot. You're not going to have the motor skills to perform for 3 to 5 seconds. So coupled with being at night and you're just you don't know what's going on, right? So definitely 1770 Armory and Gun Club, we accept everybody. We're Black owned, but that doesn't mean that we're Black exclusive. And we get a couple phone calls every now and then that ask if it's okay for other individuals to come in, and it's, yes, absolutely, please come in. We love to have you. We love to train. We love what we do. A lot of us are, veterans and, that kind of thing as well. So we're here for the community.
Yeah, because it's nice you walk in the door, definitely, willing to share, your knowledge with everyone that's out there. Tell us about some of the other, the other members on your team there. Tell us about,
Yes.
some of you guys' background.
Yeah, absolutely. So Wanda James is what we call a serial entrepreneur, very intelligent woman. Ran for Congress at the age of 30. Has had her and her husband, several successful businesses. So she's one of the co-owners. She's a veteran. And then my other partner, Sean McWilliams, one of my best friends. He's not blood, but if I could pick a brother, it would be him and my other brother, Master Young. They're also former veterans.
Yeah, he's a Marine Corps veteran, right?
Marine Corps, and then Master Young, Army veteran, just great guys, very knowledgeable. Master has been a firearms instructor, NRA, RSO. He's certified with the state of Colorado to train police officers and security officers. So there's a huge wealth of knowledge and information when it comes to firearms and in this particular industry. Master and I actually, we ran a gun club together prior to 1770. We were both RSOs. He was a manager. And also we were in a security firm together. We were both in armed security. So, it's great to build a business with people that you could trust and, to be around individuals that, you trust with your life, you trust them with your kids, you trust them with your business. And that's really what's really amazing about this endeavor. Josh Graham is also an amazing individual, helping us build this thing from the ground up. He's working on his certificate and certifications to also be an instructor as well. We have competitions all the time, just running around and, utilizing the software. And even when we get on the live fire range, we're constantly testing and pressing each other to be better, because what makes us better will help our students become better.
All right, so when we come back from the break, I'm going to ask you about, the software that you're using. I also want to ask you about, what do you say to people that are afraid when they're pulled over by police officers? Because I get a common question in class, I'm a black male, black female, and, when I get pulled over by police, I'm deathly afraid that the police officer is going to, possibly shoot me or something like that. So I want to talk about that. What do you guys tell people, their interaction with law enforcement? This is Michael Cargill. We're talking with 1770 Army out of Denver, Colorado, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
This is Brittany Glaze, and I get my global gun news from Michael Cargill on Come and Talk It.
I'm a U.S. Army veteran with a strong sense of duty and respect for our system of government. After 12 years, I was honorably discharged and decided I would fulfill the American dream of entrepreneurship and open up a gun shop in Austin, Texas. At my shop, I teach people to be law-abiding and how to safely use their firearm. On page 46, we're going to talk about Penal Code Section 46.02. The day that ban went into effect, I went into my local ATF in Austin and turned over my bump stock because I'm a law-abiding citizen. But I wasn't going down without a legal fight. So that's why I reached out to NCLA.
NCLA is representing Michael Cargill because federal agencies do not have the power to rewrite statutes. Bump stocks are not machine guns. If Congress wants to change the law and ban bump stocks, it certainly can do so. But we can't have the executive branch rewriting a statute and putting people in jail for up to 10 years.
It's a problem because, this government agency has said, you know what, something that is legal is now illegal, and we're going to confiscate it from you, and we're not going to compensate you for it, and you're going to become a criminal.
The goal of our case here is to tell the ATF that they can't get away with this kind of administrative lawmaking. This isn't constitutionally permissible, and this goes against everything that our nation was founded on.
The bump stock ban turned innocent law-abiding citizens into criminals overnight, even though they were compliant with the statute. And that's not right.
This case is not about where you stand on bump stocks. It's about the rule of law. It's about whether an agency can rewrite a statute and turn a law-abiding citizen into a criminal. If the ATF can ban bump stocks, any agency can ban anything.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so we're on with 1770 Armory out of Denver, Colorado, and we're talking about their firearm business. They're instructors, firearms instructors out of Denver, Colorado. They do a lot of training. They do concealed carry group courses. They do rifle courses, AR courses, shotgun courses. They talk about cleaning and maintenance. Some of you people need to clean your gun. I'm telling you right now, clean and oil your gun. Because if you don't clean and oil it and take care of it, it's going to fail you. So take a course. Learn how to clean your gun. All right, so we're talking to them about that. Also, I want to ask a question. I want to ask, what's the software that you guys use?
So it's a software. It's called Laser.
Mm-hmm.
Really accurate piece of software, and we just kind of wanted to do something different that, especially with the ammo crisis, that, people could still train and get in their trigger time. Trigger time is important, right?
Because ammo is a very important thing. I'll tell you, people are going to be trading, 5 bullets for a loaf of bread here in a minute.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it's like Mad Max, gasoline and ammo, right?
Oh, so, yeah, that was 2021. So next year we'll see. Come January, Mad Max and Thunderdome.
Oh man,
that's right, Mom. That was 2021.
That was 2021. That's crazy.
It's coming. It's gonna be real. Coming for you.
Absolutely.
Mad Max and Thunderdome.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So so with the software, the average shooter loses about 20% of their skills after 1 week of not training. So that's one of the things we stress to our students. It's just kind of like going to the gym. it has to become a lifestyle, or you will lose lose all your gains, right? And lose all your strength. Not all of it, but a good portion of it after, a period of not training.
And
So,
I'm sure it tells you if you're using too much trigger finger, if you're wrapping your finger around the trigger, if your hand grip is not right.
Yeah. Well, it's shot placement. So as soon as you press the trigger, the laser goes off at however fast the speed of light is. The camera picks it up. You instantly see it on the screen where we have the software on a laptop. And, it's funny, we get guys in there all the time they're all about recoil. Well, if ain't no recoil, I'm gonna be hitting the target, with precision.
Not
and we're
necessarily.
like, okay, well, yep, well, come on in. And they're all over the place. And then they'll say, well, man, it's the system. And then we'll hit bullseye all day. And, and it's just, we asked what was the excuse, because there was no recoil, right? So, it's a pretty innovative thing. And we still stress, get your ammo. You still got to get in your trigger time at the live fire range as well.
Right.
So it's not a substitute for training.
And then tell us, what do you tell people about their, contact with law enforcement, their interaction with law enforcement? Because that's a really big thing. A big question I get, and it's hard sometimes. I get people they said, okay, Michael, you've answered everyone's question in the room here, and I got a question for you. I get pulled off by police, as a black male, a black female, I'm definitely afraid of police. I'm afraid they're going to shoot me. What do I do? So what's your advice to people, the black community, their interaction with law enforcement?
Well, if they're a, licensed or concealed carry holder, we also have castle doctrine as well. So, you can carry a firearm in your vehicle without requiring, a license or concealed license. And, first of all, we want to take the emotion out of it, right? You're already nervous and sweating, and, when you are being pulled over by the police, just calm down. First and foremost, calm down, be respectful, and again, conflict resolution. So they're, for the most part, trying to do their jobs, and just be calm. Now, if your state requires you to let them know that you have a firearm in the vehicle, then abide by that. If your state doesn't require you to disclose that, you have a concealed or you have a, firearm in your vehicle, then do that. And just most traffic stops are, that are routine. They go as planned. You get your ticket or they tell you why you've been stopped. Don't escalate, right? As soon as you roll down your window, just don't start, going off at the mouth. We've got to get out of this emotion, right? We have to be calm. We have to be, collected, because again, that responsibility of carrying a firearm, especially concealed, requires you to be, an individual that is able to be calm under duress. We don't want a bunch of people walking around with guns that can't control their emotions, right? So, yes, you may be nervous, but they're probably nervous too. So everybody just have a level head and, just be cool. So that's the advice that I give, because every situation is different. And obviously we've seen things that, haven't gone as well as they could have.
Correct.
On both ends. So, but it's perfectly lawful to carry a firearm, in the state of Colorado in your vehicle.
Absolutely. I truly want to thank you guys for coming on, because it's funny, because we don't even know each other. I never met you. Never talked to you before at all, except for on this radio show just today.
Yes, sir.
And we teach the exact same thing. And I like that.
Yep.
We don't know each other, never talk to each other. And, we can actually relate and talk about the same life experiences, because we know what's going on around the country. And that's funny to me. I sit here and I tell people, this is what's going on. We need to fix this. They're like, no, man, you just make it up in your mind. We're in two separate states, two different states. We talk the exact same. We are training people the exact same way. We've never even met each other and see the exact same thing in class.
Yep.
and people need to, you need to be aware about, need to be aware of that and listen to that.
Yep.
So I truly appreciate what you guys are doing in Denver, Colorado. I appreciate 1770 Armory. I appreciate you coming on the show, and I definitely want to get you back on, in the future. Maybe something happens in Colorado. We're going to talk about it. So I definitely want to get you guys on again because I really appreciate what you're doing there. Just by talking to you right now, I know who you are. I know everything I need to know about you, and I respect you guys, and I wish you guys all the luck in the world in Denver, Colorado.
Appreciate it, Michael. Thank you so much for having us on, and we definitely want to come back on the show when you'll have us, and we appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
All right, so we got a couple stories here. We got 4 gun-related 2A stories, and I'm going to run through them real quick before the break here, and then we can talk about them afterward. All right, so gun store owners say that sales went up after Election Day. The owners of ABQ Guns in Northwest Albuquerque said gun sales have not slowed down since January, but their supply is starting to run low, which could pose a problem if the governor decides to shut down non-essential businesses again. Ammo is also running on short supply, just to add that in there. And in Virginia, with Governor Ralph Northam over there and a number of 2A gun control laws being laid before legislation, militias are challenging gun laws in Virginia. Let me find the name here real quick. This article is not put together the best. The Campbell County Militia has over 200 people at an event, and most of them were carrying arms. They are organized because they say that we are here today to send a clear and collective message to any would-be tyrants that would attempt to disarm us. We will not comply, saying it is about shooting tyrants in the face.
All right.
We've got the McCloskeys are back in the news. You remember them?
Oh, yeah. My favorite family from Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's my grandparents right there. I'm gonna be just like them. I'm gonna be sitting on my front lawn.
those are your grandparents.
That's right. When I turn 80, I'm gonna be on my front lawn telling you to get off my grass.
Michael, you have quite the tan if those are your grandparents.
I love this family. That's right. Get off my lawn.
The McCloskeys, Mark and Patricia McCloskey, the personal injury attorneys who became infamous, or in our circle, I would not say infamous, but famous.
Papa Cap.
Well-respected for aiming firearms at BLM protesters that came onto their private property, onto their lawn and into their neighborhood after tearing down the gate to a private neighborhood, are suing the photographer who captured them in the act of pointing the firearms at the protesters.
Is that illegal? Is it illegal to take pictures of someone?
I don't know, but I mean, it's funny.
They're claiming that the people who came into the neighborhood did so
maliciously
by trespassing.
And they didn't videotape that portion of it. He only videotaped what they did or something.
Yeah, well, and there was also an armed man behind their house.
The funny thing about lawsuits, it's not about, who's 100% responsible. It's like, what portion of that are you responsible? So, if there's some wrongdoing, is it 30% you're responsible? So of that $100, you're going to pay $30 of the $100.
Very true. I guess. I don't know. I've never been
and
sued.
And this lawsuit is saying that these other companies are profiting from T-shirts and masks and other things with their
likeness.
So they want some of that money.
They want that money.
There's
also a weird
story.
Not
rich. They're rich for a reason.
They're rich for a reason, and it's because I believe they sued somebody who was squatting or something. I don't want to put fake news out there, but the story about how they made a bunch of money is also very
It'll be interesting to see if the photographer countersues, because there was footage of them a few weeks ago of them getting basically Christmas cards printed with that picture on there, and they were being harassed when they left.
Yeah, and he handed one of them to him.
And he handed them one of them.
That was funny.
So if they don't have legal authority from the photographer to use that picture,
well, that's irrelevant.
Well, then there could be a countersuit.
No, because they were
that's good. That's a good point.
Just because it's not relevant doesn't
you
mean
used
that
my picture that I took. You didn't ask me permission.
The picture would have been taken illegally if there was a crime committed.
They didn't ask for permission, so that's a good point. I like that.
It's still their creative property.
The photographer took the picture.
Dude, they're not going to win if they countersue. I understand what you're saying.
I'm not saying that they're going to win. I'm saying it's a countersue.
Yeah.
It's copyright infringement.
Yeah,
and then they settle and it never goes to court.
That's like saying you go into somebody's house and take a video of them in their bathroom and then you say, "Oh, this is my intellectual property."
There's right, there's wrong.
She's right that they can countersue, but it's not. In other news, I'm not arguing.
There's right, there's wrong,
If
there's
every
the law.
lawsuit
There's
was
something.
viable, there'd be
We
a
gotta
lot
go to
fewer of
break,
them.
and also there's something way more important than this. Florida's Ron DeSantis is moving. I think this is incredibly interesting. Is moving to allow citizens to shoot looters and rioters targeting businesses.
Okay.
Governor Ron DeSantis has drafted anti-mob, quotes, anti-mob legislation that would expand the state's stand your ground law.
I'm good with that.
A move that some worry would allow armed citizens to shoot and potentially kill anyone they suspect of looting. Suspect. Keyword.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Suspect.
Then say you should be at home at 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. This is Michael Cargill, and you are listening to Come and Talk It.
Folks, this is Doug Man Jones. And I get my gun news from Michael Cargill at Come and Talk It.
Whether it's a typical traffic stop or you're just involved in a use of force incident, encounters with law enforcement can be scary and stressful. In the heat of the moment, you may inadvertently say something you don't mean or make an inconsistent statement. These are red flags for officers, and if they think you're lying or your story doesn't add up, they might arrest you and let the criminal justice system decide your fate. Police officers are trained to get information from you without making the interaction seem like a formal interrogation. But remember, from the moment an officer arrives on scene, everything you say and everything you do will be scrutinized in court. The prosecuting attorney will attempt to use anything and everything against you. So what do you say? You say, I invoke my right to remain silent, and then let your attorney interact with law enforcement on your behalf. One important note though, do not throw common sense out the window. For example, if the intruder's hiding somewhere in your house when the police arrive, or if you saw the perpetrator pitch his weapon into your backyard, quickly tell the police and then stop talking. You might ask, what about my rights? What if the police never read me my Miranda rights? Miranda rights is the common name for a collection of rights contained in the Miranda warnings, given to suspects when they're placed under arrest. The warning comes from a 1966 Supreme Court case, Miranda v. Arizona. In that case, the court held that statements from a custodial interrogation would not be admissible unless proper procedural safeguards were in place to protect the defendant's Fifth Amendment rights. We've all seen these warnings on TV and movies. You have the right to remain silent. You have the right to have an attorney. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law, and so on. So do police have to read you your rights? No. It's important to note that officers are not required to read you these rights unless you're in custody and subjected to interrogation. If the police show up to a crime scene and start asking you general questions and you voluntarily tell them everything that happened, those statements can be used against you regardless of the Miranda warnings because you're not in custody. If you're put in handcuffs but you say something incriminating on your own without being questioned, those statements can and will be used against you because you're not being interrogated. You're just starting to spout off. This is why it's imperative that you know your rights and you shouldn't rely on the police to read them to you. Affirmatively invoke your rights. Say, I'm invoking my right to remain silent and my right to my attorney. Once you do that, the police legally shouldn't continue questioning you without your attorney present. But remember, there's a second part to this equation. After invoking your rights, you must exercise those rights. That means you have to keep your mouth closed. Protect yourself. Don't let the legal system take advantage of you after an incident. And Law Shield members, if you've been involved in a self-defense incident, remember to call the emergency hotline and speak with your independent program attorney.
Welcome back to Come and Talk It. And now here's Michael Cargill.
All right, so what do you guys think? Do you think we're at a civil war? Do you think the left and the right this thing is brewing? Do you think we are in a society? We have raised a society of spoiled brats who just are poor losers.
Yes, we've raised a society of spoiled brats. No, we're not in a civil war. We got a couple people fighting here and there, but
is that a civil war?
The things haven't really fallen into place to make it actually.
Look, let me tell you what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
All right. There's gonna be no
Mothers need to go out there with a belt and beat their kids. What else?
So anyways, So this is what's going to happen. This will be recorded in history books by whoever's in political power in 20, 30 years, and it's going to be rewritten so that it does appear to be some sort of a Civil War type scenario where they say that it's like a bunch of right-wing maniacs, fascists, or white supremacists, or whatever they call it, against a bunch of what they would say would be the proletariat, if you will. And this will go down in the history books as something along those lines. I agree with you that there's not actually gonna be a civil war. But
well, I didn't say there's not gonna be. I'm saying there just hasn't been one yet. It hasn't begun.
Yeah, I agree.
So you think there's gonna be one? Start it have not happened. I don't know.
Like what? A political assassination?
Oh, Felicia.
You come to me after the political assassination comment?
Nope. We ain't going there.
I mean, assuming that the election is over and Biden has won and they're going to try and enact gun legislation via, Congress, when they come to the South and they try and take guns, hell yeah, we're going to have a civil war. It will happen. We will not go quietly. And I think that's kind of the sentiment with every gun owner I know. And I mean, we were kind of making fun of the comments in Virginia, but the Second Amendment is not for hunting. The Second Amendment is not for going to the gun range to shoot with your bros. The Second Amendment is a check on the federal government so that they know when they get too big for their britches, we will fight you. It's what this country was founded on, and it's non-negotiable. Every true Second Amendment advocate, every gun rights advocate knows that the Second Amendment is to hold the government accountable. And when they start to cross those lines, we will retaliate. In accordance.
We got thousands of gun restrictions on the books, but nothing has happened yet. At what point
it's
do you
incremental
think that something would happen? Or is it like the frog that boils in the
incremental,
pot?
Man. Incremental.
Start it cold.
I think we are.
I think it's going to kind of pile on what happened with COVID. So many states did not allow you to buy a gun during lockdowns. It's still difficult to get ammunition. And that scared people because they were like, oh God, the government's actually doing this thing that we thought they would do, but they hadn't just crossed that line yet. Well, governments have crossed it and people are awake and they're paying attention more right now than I think they have in a really long time. As someone who works in the political sphere, every single place I go, someone's like, how do I get involved? How do I fight for gun rights? What can I do to make sure we have the right to keep and bear arms? People are paying attention right now more than they usually do.
I agree. And it's probably because 2A community, gun rights, gun ownership, all that kind of stuff. It's nonpartisan.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. People ask me all the time, well, why isn't your organization partisan? Well, one, it's an IRS thing. We're legally nonpartisan.
Right.
Two, gun rights do not toe party lines.
Not at all.
And neither should the gun rights activists. I have friends who are very Democrat, very quote unquote liberal. But yeah, we go to the range together. We've gone hunting together.
With your bros? Go to the range with your bros?
What?
That's not the purpose of the Second
it's not the purpose. Jeez, Michael, what am I going to do over here, you know?
Sorry, you want me to go shoot a government official? Because we have not gotten to that point
yet.
Whoa,
political assassination.
We haven't gotten to that point yet.
Yikes. What? Okay, here, Casey. Careful. Watch it.
Yeah, you can't say that.
No,
I mean, it's definitely not happening. It's definitely not to that point.
I was saying don't do that.
Understood.
All right.
Right?
So tell me, let's go back to Florida. Let's jump into Florida. So Florida Governor DeSantis says he's going to move to allow citizens to shoot looters, rioters targeting business.
No.
What do you guys think about that?
No. People were worried that it's going to allow armed citizens to shoot suspected looters or rioters, which is a horrible idea. That's how you start a civil war right there, brother.
So what does this legislation do?
I'm not exactly sure. I think it's anti-mob legislation.
It's anti-mob legislation that would expand the state's stand your ground law and move that some people just worrying about this.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. People are worried about it. But when laws are loosely written, and it sounds like that's a possibility because there's already a bunch of laws regarding guns that are not specific enough, I think. Kyle Rittenhouse. I bet you this is a result of what happened to Kyle Rittenhouse because he's still in jail.
Well, what this guy said was, "Hey, I'm pleased to highlight state resources available for veteran-owned businesses." So he's thinking about the veterans and their businesses and people destroying their business.
I'm assuming it's gonna be regarding any business, but I think it's hopefully it's specific to a mob. Not anyone suspected of looting or rioting. But how do you define that? You know what I mean?
At 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, I don't think there's not many people out there in the streets.
Yeah, but you can have. But what if there's a big protest at 3 in the morning? That's not a
So is he basically
riot.
trying to essentially legalize rooftop Koreans?
You can protest, but you can't just destroy someone's business.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's
right.
He's saying right. So what are you saying about the rooftop Koreans?
Because
that would be covered in this Florida law. So he's essentially trying to legalize that. Whereas previously on the show we've talked about
that's not
if a business owner was on the top of their roof or the top of their business and someone was inside of it or trying to get into it, there's a fine line on whether or not you can protect your business.
As far as the castle doctrine, so it's not part of the castle doctrine.
What did Edwin Walker say about this? What did Edwin Walker say?
So it would have to be burglary. In other words, if someone's attempting to enter in Texas, if they're attempting to enter your business or remove you from your business, you can use force, deadly force to stop them. When it comes to burglary, if you're not in your business, and someone's burglarizing your business, anything that protrudes from their body, sticks to the door, the window, you can use force, deadly force to stop them.
So then it sounds like the rooftop Korean scenario is already legal in Texas. Is that not legal in Florida?
It would be legal under the burglary, but not legal under the Texas castle, under the castle doctrine. So burglary, yes, they're covered. They have to wait until they are attempting to enter the business. They're on the property, but then once they're on the property, they're trying to break in the front door, break a window, and then you can use force, deadly force to stop them. You can't do anything, while they're in the,
regardless,
in the parking lot.
I'm all for it, the anti-mob legislation, because, like I said, Kyle Rittenhouse is in jail, and he definitely should not be. And that dude Daniel Perry.
Mm-hmm.
He shot that guy, and there was a question regarding that too. And I wonder how that would be affected by a legislation like this.
And then what's going on with the Virginia? It's about shooting tyrants in the face. What is up with that?
Ooh, I don't know. I can't hear anything because you just blew my eardrum out.
Okay, sorry.
It's militias protesting like they have been doing since it seems like the entire year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we remember back in Felicia, was it January when Northam, or was it last year when Northam was trying to pass those gun control laws?
I believe it was this year.
It was very early this year.
I think it was February, right?
Well, regardless, this is about militias saying exactly what Felicia said earlier, which is standing up to tyranny and checking the government via the Second Amendment. That's what it's about.
As always, more guns equals less crime. You go out there and you buy yourself a gun. You've been listening to Come and Talk It with Michael Cargill.